What interesting timing that our boy Leo, Pope Leo DiCaprio, was over here trying to build up the Vatican's bags. They must be emptied. Speaking of bags, turns out, yes, there was a flash crypto crash. A lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people asking me questions, concerned, they're worried. I am not one bit worried. In fact, what an amazing buying opportunity. Most of you have it backwards. When it crashes, when it dips, that's not when you freak out. It's when you buy. You don't dump all your bags when there's a dip, dog. And I've been successfully buying dips since 2017. It's the easiest way for a non-sophisticated person to long-term do pretty good. I'm not telling you what to do because I'm not a registered financial advisor. However, that's what I do. By the way, this isn't even that big of a crash. If you remember the 2017 cycle, the 2020 cycle, there were massive crashes around 30%. In fact, right before COOF, Bitcoin had collapsed to $3,000. That was crazy. So no need to freak out. It's just hopefully you have some capital stored away and then you can utilize it. Okay, you're raising your hand. We'll go to you. What's up, dog? Yo, this is reality, dude. We're talking to reality himself. Dude, I always wanted to talk to reality. What's it like being real, bro? First, you have to unmute.
Yeah, can you hear me, Jay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to get a hold of you. I don't know. I guess I'm from that generation that just doesn't know how to click the right buttons. But I've been meaning to ask you this for a long time, because just like there's a civil war brewing among the Orthodox Christians and the Catholics, in other words, a war of doctrine, a war of worldview, etc. There's also another civil war that's brewing, and that is that a growing portion of Christians of all denominations are now believing, and I'm one of these, that Christ's 1,000-year kingdom has already come and gone. We've got the evidence, we've got the maps, we've got the old world buildings, we've got the world infrastructure that was built out, and that we're actually in Revelation 20.
Okay.
Satan's little season. So what say you, Jay?
Utterly retarded on so many levels. No offense.
Okay. All right. Let's get rid of all the old buildings. Let's get rid of all
the old buildings. What does the old buildings have to do with it? What?
What are you talking about, Jay? How do you think you can build a cathedral? Tell me how a horse and buggy person could build such incredible, and they were all over the world. There are maps of incredible castles and structures that were built from Africa. You go anywhere. Japan. Look at their Japanese diet. It looks like a pantheon. You know,
the diet looks like a pantheon. And what are these 12 sayings?
You mean the exact scriptures?
Are you referring to what's in the scriptures? Are you talking about the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John? What are you referring to?
No, let's not conflate it. Let's talk about the actual scriptures themselves. Jesus' own words.
Okay.
And so you got one right after another, you know. The temple's going to be torn down. Not one stone will be standing on another. And I'll tell you the truth.
All right.
Some of you will not take
Right. Okay. Hold on. Slow down just for a second. Let's rewind to the very beginning, because we had an issue with the audio on YouTube, and I really want everybody to hear what you're saying on YouTube, because this is a fascinating subject. So you're arguing that the 1,000-year kingdom of Christ already came. You're saying it was on earth, right, at some time in the past, and you're saying that
at 70 AD, yeah. This is the thinking, and this is what's actually proving out according to the maps.
Okay, but hold on. You keep saying the maps, and you blow past that. You start talking about the buildings. What buildings are you looking at, and what maps are we talking about? Help me understand. Take your time.
Okay, Jay, where do you live?
You don't need to know that. Just tell me about the maps and the buildings. What buildings are we talking about?
All of them. The buildings.
All buildings in the world?
No. All the old world buildings. We all can see them. We can see them in Britain. We can see them in Scotland. Before they leveled Dresden.
Okay.
Take a look at the early footage of Dresden. They're all over. They're in Budapest.
Okay.
They're in Japan. They're in Honduras.
So right? I got you. How do we know that? How do those buildings prove that Jesus' 1,000-year kingdom came in 70 AD?
Well, for one, we don't even have the technology to be able to actually build structures like that.
How does that prove Jesus' kingdom, though? Where's the leap there? Explain that.
Well, that's what I was going to get to. Jesus' own words. He only said it doesn't.
So Jesus taught the Tartaria stuff. That's right. Is that what you're saying?
No. The Tartaria was the cover to cover up that the 1,000-year reign of Christ had come. That's what the Great Deception's about in Revelation 20.
Okay, how do we know that the Great Deception is referring to the Tartaria theory?
It's because you take a look. That's the one.
You just take a look. Okay. What if I take a look and I don't get that conclusion? So where am I taking a look? You're just saying stuff, but where is it?
Why don't we start with Messiah's words? Why don't we start with Jesus' own promises?
Okay, let's go there. In Matthew 24?
Well, let's just take when the chief priest smacked Jesus on the face.
That's all about Tartaria. The chief priest was like, I'm about to create a Tartaria story. Pat, right?
What did Jesus say when the chief priest, Caiaphas or Caiaphas, I'm not saying his name right.
It's psoriasis. It's pronounced psoriasis.
Right. Yeah, you're much more learned than I am. Right. So what did Jesus respond once he got smacked on the face by the chief priest? What was Jesus' own words?
Something about creating architecture, future fancy buildings. What? Tell me. Remind me.
He says, I tell you the truth. You will see the Son of Man come with his angels and his kingdom.
Okay.
Before you taste death. Many times he told people that were standing there, when will these things be? He says, I tell you the truth. There will be some of you that will not taste death, that will see the Son of Man come in his great glory and kingdom. Right. Which happened at 70 AD.
Okay.
When the Romans gathered around Jerusalem.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. So when I go and I read, say, church fathers from the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th centuries, like Cyprian or Leo or Augustine or John Damascus, how come none of them speak about any of this and they act like there's an apostolic succession from Peter and the apostles all the way up until their day?
Because right after the 1,000-year kingdom, when Satan was released, he came up on the earth and he saw the earth's infrastructure completely built out. He says, you know what? I'm just going to pick it up from the old Roman Empire. And there was a great devastation.
Did you not hear what I said? Hold on. Those church fathers exist and live in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th centuries. So when I read their writings, they don't talk about any of this and they don't interpret anything the way that you're.
When you read the writings of the person that did the editing of the 36 volumes of the church fathers, you mean that guy?
Well, there's different
writings.
versions. Oh, how do you know there's no writings of the church fathers?
No, Jay, there is no ancient.
How do you know this?
There's hardly any writings.
How do you know this?
The 15th century.
How do you know this?
Jay,
stop saying my name and tell me how you know that that's the case.
Because 98% of everything that you read is after.
How do you know this? Don't restate the position. Tell me your epistemic justification for that claim. What's the proof of the evidence?
There are no ancient letters.
So that's the 4th time that you've restated the position. So this is just, we're done with that. That was something else. Exactly. The high priest Psoriasis created the mythology to cover up Jesus' 1,000-year kingdom with Tartaria, and all history books are fake and gay. We are off to a great start. That was awesome. I love it. Yeah, see you.
Hi, Jay.
Yo.
What's going on?
What's up with you?
What's up with you? Oh, no, I just wanted to jump on here. So you're the expert at tag and presuppositional apologetics. I'm still a baby at it, right? But I decided, well, let me go test, see how well I know this. So I went on a bunch of atheist forums. I tried debating them, right?
So,
just to kind of
slow down. I'm not trying to be rude to you, but I did specify we're not doing tag today. So we can do any of the other topics. I'm just not in the mood to do tag. And the reason is that I figured out on these live streams when you do tag ends up being an hour-long deep philosophical discussion, and everybody leaves because it's too technical and it bores everybody to death. So tag is going to be forever now be specified as a separate thing. And maybe I'll also do tag and atheist call-ins or something like that. But we're not doing tag today because I'm not going to spend an hour explaining all the philosophy words and terms to you. I'm not being rude. I'm just saying, it's just takes over the whole discussion and we don't really move forward. So no, not mad at you. Nothing wrong with you. Modern apostate. What's up?
Yo, hey, Jay.
Hey.
How's it going? I wanted to ask, for the whole Bitcoin crash thing, do you think there's any liability in the sense that when you see, I don't know if the news story is confirmed to be accurate, but the person who shorted the Bitcoin price right before Trump announced the tariffs, do you think there's a...
I mean, I read all those stories. I haven't verified it. I don't know how to verify
it. Yeah. But do you think that just, those stories could be potentially fake just to discredit Bitcoin or all of crypto is kind of just a scam?
I mean, they could be, but I think that kind of FUD is we already passed that phase. We're into institutional adoption, so I don't think that kind of FUD is going to work anymore. But I don't know. I mean, again, who knows? It could be. I do think that there is a tendency with Trump and people into crypto in the administration. They do, I think, know how to short and long the market when there's these big events. So if Trump announces tariffs, they all know the tariff announcement, but it's not just the insiders in the administration. I mean, I think everybody knows that when Trump announces something to do with tariffs, that makes all the market collapse. But in the case of the person, there could have been insider information, and that's why they manipulated it like that to dump and then buy back right when it crashed. So, but I mean, that's been happening for all of crypto, and it's not just crypto. That's like any market, right? In the long term, though, I'm not worried about it. I agree with Max Kaiser. This is just a bump in the road on a long road. And again, in 2017, we had 30, 40, 50%, 60% crashes. In 2020, we had 30, 40, 50% crashes. So I'm not worried about it, but it is interesting to look and see what kind of movers and shakers try to manipulate. Jonah, what's up? Yeah, exactly. Like Max Kaiser says, Bitcoin doesn't need Trump. Trump needs Bitcoin. Of course it's going to recover. I mean, we just hit all-time high a few days ago. So, Jonah, what's up? Unmute. Jonah, unmute.
Yo,
hey.
What's going on?
Hey, what's on your mind?
Nothing. I just wanted to ask. So I grown up non-denominational, and I mean I've seen some of your videos, just recommending books and stuff. But just wanted to ask what's a good place to start looking into Orthodoxy and with well, I mean, it seems like the most consistent paradigm. So I mean, I just would I just go to an Orthodox church and go from there? Or
yeah, absolutely. I would say go check out a local Russian Orthodox church, Serbian Orthodox church, Antiochian Orthodox church, Romanian Orthodox church. Check them out. Spend some time there. If you're looking for books, I would say get something like Dr. Clark Carlton's book, the one that's for Protestants, or you could get something like Rock and Sand by Father Josiah. Any of those would be good. Sanctified Survival. You could also watch the documentary, The Icon, which is a 3-hour documentary. It's actually a pretty good introduction to Orthodoxy as well. What's up, Sanctified?
Hey, what's going on, man? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Cool. All
All right, yeah, I love your stuff, man. I just had a quick question. Actually, if I can chip in for the last guy, I started going to the Orthodox Church, the liturgy. You should definitely go to it. They commemorate a lot of the martyrs, which I thought was fantastic. I've seen some of the, if you know who Saint Thecla is, are you familiar?
Mm-hmm.
I went to it was a while ago. I went to a museum that had an actual, ancient iconography of Saint Thecla. And so when my first time going, they commemorated her in the liturgy.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing they did that. But my question was, I'm sure you're familiar with Alexander Hislop, right? His Nonsense and the Two Babylons.
Yeah, I read it when I was like 19.
Yeah, my question was, and I have a bunch of books coming in, but are you familiar with any Orthodox scholar that directly challenges his worldview? I have like Yaroslav Pelikan, if you've read his stuff, really good stuff.
I've read it all, yeah. I mean, I don't know about a specific book that addresses the specifics of that book because it's kind of, of Hislop, because it's kind of a silly, nobody really takes that seriously because it's basically just zeitgeist level stuff like, oh, look, here's a risen savior and there's another risen savior in this culture. And so they're all the same risen savior. So the same type of logic that would refute something like zeitgeist is the same type of logic that refutes the silly argumentation of Hislop. Oh, look, the Pope's hat's shaped like a fish head, so it's the worship of Dagon. Like, it's just a bunch of word concept fallacies applied to symbols and liturgical vestments. It's really stupid. But I would say, watch a documentary like we made, or like Lewis made over on Orthodox Shahada, Orthodox Christian worship in the Old Testament, and that'll give you an outline of that the vestments and the symbology and the imagery of the Orthodox Church are not from the pagan world. They're directly from the liturgical worship of the Old Testament. And the early church carried that tradition as well. 300 DC, what's up? Oh, I wanted to say, speaking of that, because people are asking then, what Orthodox church should I go to? Well, our buddy Leo DiCaprio, Pope Leo DiCaprio, is over here making friends with, where was it at? Bart. As we've been saying and warning about, because I actually know and talked to quite a few priests about this. It's not just me making up stuff. Everybody's been aware of this push for the so-called reunion. And Pope Leo is wanting to reestablish full visible communion with the Patriarch of Constantinople. It certainly won't be the whole of the Orthodox Church. It'll really just be the subverted State Department run Patriarch of Constantinople Church. So this is also very timely with the corruption and scandals in the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese in New York that everyone is talking about. I don't know anything about the Greek Orthodox circles, so in America. So this is something that a lot of people on Twitter are talking about, Jim Jotras and others. So you could go to Jim's wall and read about it, exactly what's going on. It's more so money corruption and the Bartholomew and others kind of Alpida Forest cashing in by supposedly selling churches or something. I don't know all the details, but it's just par for the course when it comes to big level corruption and scandals. And, what we've really been warning about and saying was coming for a long time is this ecumenist push for so-called reunion. But the problem is that you can't have a reunion without truth. So this is all a geopolitically motivated reunion. It's not a reunion based around, oh, we've actually worked out the theology of the Filioque and the essence of distinction, and we've worked out the role of the papacy. That's all been pushed aside, and it's akin to the reunion of Florence. So if you go back to the attempted false union of Florence, this is a repeat of that. Just like at Florence, when you had the Medicis and others kind of in the background, sort of engaging in geopolitical machinations to bring about this false union and to suppress the theology and kind of twist the theology at any cost to make it fit into some sort of union formula. The same geopolitical thing is happening now with the State Department influence on the EP, which is exactly why the EP reversed its course and supported the schismatic church in the Ukraine that they just created out of nowhere with Duminko and others who were formerly defrocked schismatics, and to the persecution then of the canonical Orthodox Church in the Ukraine. all of which has been well documented. You've seen, of course, people like lawyers that represent those people on Tucker. I've actually talked to people who know all about this directly. So this is an ongoing thing. We did podcasts on this 7-8 years ago when it really kicked off. So it's all connected is what I'm trying to say. All this is working together, and there's a lot of very low tier, very naive, silly people in the Roman Catholic and Orthodox world that think that all of this is happening by miraculous divine providence, and it's all so great. And none of those people know anything about the actual theology or ecumenism, how ecumenism is essentially a geopolitical tool. Remember, we just did a 4-hour live stream detailing all of the vast history, as much as we could, of the Vatican's deep inside connections to the CIA and the Mossad and other intelligence agencies, and how this was a key role. This was a key relationship that influenced the documents and the outcome of Vatican II, particularly Nostra Aetate, particularly Gaudium et Spes, which is the papal teaching at Vatican II on socialism and Marxism as its government principle. In other words, they have actually adopted Marxism, socialism, and Gaudium et Spes, and we covered that document many times over. And what's crazy is I think we're at the stage where the only people left in Rome are the ones that are just absolutely fanatical loons who don't really care about the theology. They just kind of want to have their own little grift or their own little marketing scheme or whatever they're up to, because I can't imagine anyone remaining in that system who actually cares about truth unless they're in a sunken cost fallacy. And I say that not out of hatred. I mean, you guys know, still friends with Tim Gordon. I like Tim. I want the best for Tim and his family, but I can't fathom how you're going to find the best for your family in this horrible institution that is basically global organized crime syndicate run out of Rome. So why would you want to be like saying, Tony Soprano, he's a good guy, he's a good guy. I'm gonna have a communion meal with Tony Soprano. Deep down, he's a good guy though. He's a good guy though. Gabagool, good guy. We all gotta get together and be Gabagool good guys together. We're all on the same team, ain't we? Yeah? Ain't we? Anyway, excommunicado, what's up, dog? Tony, man, hey, listen, Tony Soprano, he brought me some gabagool. He's a good guy. He's a wise guy, but he's a good guy. What's up, man? I'm you.
Hey, Jay.
Yes, sir.
Orthodox here from Serbia. I agree with everything you said. Unfortunately, we in Serbia, our church, how can I say? I think it's almost already lost about this ecumenism, modernism, and all this bullshit that happened. You know what's worse for me? They're now in one campaign. They are preaching about everybody can just take Eucharist just like that, without any preparation, without any fasting, without confession.
Yeah, that's so that they can have open communion with all these schismatic and Roman Catholic heretical groups.
Yeah, that's really pissing me off. Some what church fathers told about those preparation for taking Eucharist. Of course,
that's actually a good question, and I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. Where that's specifically spoken of, I'm sure if you did some Google searches, you could probably find something on that. That's actually really good. I've never been asked that. Where is a patristic quote on preparation for communion? I mean, I think it's just sort of a given that if you look at the canons of like even Nicaea, right? Like in the canons of Nicaea, you can't touch the Eucharist unless you're a priest, and a deacon, I think, is only limited to touch it in certain instances or something. So I think the principle is derived out of even the earliest, canonical law principles, even in Nicaea. And I'm sure there's many other canonical statements that make that clear. I mean, that's why Orthodox Church, we don't do communion in the hands, right? And then Rome at Vatican II switched and started doing this. And I'm aware that there were different liturgical traditions, but one of the reasons why I think some of the Oriental churches, maybe even before the schism, had variations of communion in the hand. But the reason for ceasing that had to do with, people trying to collect it and use it to blaspheme or use it for their magic rituals or whatever. So there's good principles behind why it's revered and treated that way. I mean, Paul says you could die if you don't prepare properly. Well, why would we have open communion if people who are not properly prepared can die from this? It makes no sense.